Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Multiverse Infinitum podcast, where it has been a while since we have been getting down. We got an episode back here with Gareth Bond, and today we're going to be talking about science fiction. Yes, that broad. That's how much we've lost ideas for this fucking show already.
But it's all right.
We love science fiction. I think it's a great topic.
Yeah, more relevant than ever.
For those who are just like briefly familiar or like, yeah, I know what it means, but tell me anyway. This is like a quick introduction. Science fiction, obviously shortened to sci-fi, which is spelt wrong on the cable channel, like SYFY. It's not how you spell sci-fi.
But it looks cool.
It looks super cool. Which typically deals... it's a genre of speculative fiction, which typically deals with imaginative and futuristic concepts such as advanced science, technology, space exploration, time travel, parallel universes, and, but not limited to, extraterrestrial life. It is related to fantasy, horror, and superhero fiction and contains many subgenres. Its exact definition has also long been disputed by authors, critics, scholars, and readers because everything could be not everything is science fiction, but science fiction could be everything.
I see what I mean. Yeah.
That's pretty fire. So, with that in mind, we're just going to go over some of our top 3 favorite sci-fi franchises, just kind of off the top of the head, so don't ridicule us too bad here. Which I guess we do go franchise, but I have a specific movie within my franchise that I would like to talk about. So my top 3 is Altered Carbon, fantastic television show on Netflix. You can check it out. Dune, more specifically though, Dune Part 2, because I've watched that like 3 times now in the theater, and it might be a little too early. It might be recency bias, but it's the best science fiction film I've ever seen in my life. So, 3, classic, got me into science fiction in a more studious way versus, I guess, just a passive fan, because I've been into like Riddick and Total Darkness and a couple other like kind of sci-fi adjacent, kind of edgy Aeon Flux, you know what I mean, kind of weird early 2000s. But that's a long introduction. Just to say, Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, is like, oh wow, this is epic space battles and diplomacy and heroes and villains and scumbaggery and carbonite. There's a lot of cool stuff in Episode 5. So that's my favorite. Gareth, what's your top 3?
Okay, I think my top number 1 right now, just off the top of my head, has got to be Gargantia, which is a space-themed anime, and it kind of happens after this fall of Earth. So it's kind of a little bit of a post-apocalyptic, but it's enough post-apocalyptic that life has really been restored on Earth. I really like it because it explores different like themes in humanity, and the way those themes play out through like what space is. I think that's what really makes sci-fi interesting, is like thinking about where everything on this planet could go eventually. And so there's like a war between humans and these like squid creatures. I don't want to ruin too much of it. And they've been fighting in space for eons and eons, and basically the humans, it's their only purpose at that point. And you get one pilot who accidentally gets thrown out of the side of basically a wormhole, and he somehow randomly ends up back on Earth with absolutely no way to go back to his main space civilization. And it turns out that humans after they left Earth, some stayed behind and kind of dealt with environmental disasters that were going on, and kind of just like...
That sounds like WALL-E a little bit.
A little bit, but they've just been dealing with stuff, and they don't have as advanced technology. So the space-based humans are like way more technologically advanced, and these guys just kind of float in the ocean and grab scrap off the bottom of the ocean. So it's a little bit more advanced than what we have today. You know, they have like robots that do stuff for them and like exosuits, but they don't have like crazy advanced stuff. But yeah, and then it just plays out with him like being like this super crazy badass warrior, and just being in some place where that doesn't really need any warriors, and figuring out what it means to like live. And I don't know. Ends up saving the Earth from his boss's exosuit. It has an AI theme, so the exosuits are pretty cool. They have like these pilot enlightenment systems that end up learning and like helping things. One of them goes rogue and basically starts this crazy religion in order to dominate Earth, and then they duke it out with the other one, and
Yeah,
the AIs die.
It's pretty crazy, bro.
Leto learns to like just be part of society. It's pretty cool.
All right.
Number 2, gotta say, probably another anime, probably Evangelion.
Is it like mechs and stuff?
Yeah, it's mechs. It's another dystopian one. Well, the Gargantia isn't super dystopian.
Liddy?
Yeah. That's a lot more familiar, so I won't go into that one as much.
Yeah, it's more popular.
Yeah.
More known in the zeitgeist for
and
sure.
third is a hard call. Maybe like something like Alien, or maybe...
Alien's good.
Maybe...
Alien's classic.
Oh, what's the other one?
Stargate, SG-1.
No, I have watched a lot of Stargate, but not that one. It's
Babylon
good.
5.
Babylon 5 is another one I've watched a lot of, but I probably wouldn't put it at my tops, you know. It's another bad good one.
Dude, Star Trek Deep Space Nine just edged out. Altered Carbon just edged it out because I think it's a little better. But there's things that probably could have slipped in that didn't slip in. Just keep that in mind.
It's true. That's true.
It's a broad ass genre, bro. Like there's so many dope things. Like Prometheus. Have you seen that movie? It's part of the Alien franchise.
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so fucking dope, bro. That's a recommendation for sure. You get that one for free. So what's your top? That's your finale. That's it. Divergence. Remember that one? Or Defiance. It was a TV show and a video game.
No, I don't remember that one at all.
Shout out to the Valks. He was getting down on Defiance. He was top 30 in the world, and I was like, bullshit. And he showed me the leaderboard when we were in 8th grade.
Top 30 in the world?
Yeah.
Dang.
And I was like, you motherfucker. You're actually good.
Dang. That's crazy.
I didn't believe him. He's like, look on the fucking leaderboard. He brought me to his house to show me.
Wow.
So yeah, shout out to Defiance too, but that I don't recommend it. That was not very good. All right, well, I got a unique recommendation that maybe not a lot of people are really that fond of, or maybe...
I know what my number 3 was. It's
What?
probably what you're going to bring up.
No, what is it?
Firefly.
No, that's your unique.
Oh, yeah, Firefly.
I think you skipped over Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar, yeah, but Firefly is definitely better.
Yeah.
It's shorter, it's sweeter.
Tell me
it has
about
some
it.
like really badass themes.
And Serenity, if you have any like things about that.
Well, you've seen Serenity, right?
as a movie. Yeah,
As a movie.
but I mean,
okay. So you know the crew basically.
to the freaking audience, you know what I mean? Like, Pitch. We have
Unfortunately-
Riddick on here too, but I'm not just be like, oh,
It's
you've
only
seen
like
Pitch
2
Black.
seasons or something. Or maybe just 1 season. I don't
think
remember
one
how.
season.
Yeah, but it's a good season. They set up a lot in it. You know, they have like River and Simon, who are these like Simon's this crazy badass doctor, who's on the run from the Federation, and that's kind of their whole thing is that they're all on the run from the Federation, which is this like super powerful, but like kind of corrupt, centralized global organization of planets. And they fought on basically like the independent side, which is like wanted to have a more free version of life, and got beaten badly, and then the Alliance took over. And so they're smugglers in space. They're basically space cowboys that are smuggle, and like we're on the wrong side or losing side of a war. And then
They have a cool ship?
Yeah, they have a really cool ship. It's the Serenity. It's like a Firefly, so it can glow and then make itself go really fast, and that's their whole thing. It's how they get away from everything.
That's pretty cool.
So they're clever. They have a really great crew, and then there's this like, as far as it kind of started the whole cowboys and space trend, and then I think the most interesting part of it is probably Simon and River, who are the only 2 non like ragtag team. They came from a really wealthy Alliance family, and Simon's a brilliant prodigy doctor, and his sister's River, who's probably the coolest character in it, was like beyond super prodigy. She was like memorized plays instantly, like was always the top of everything. She got invited to this crazy and prestigious institution, which she accepted. She goes, and basically eventually she sends her older brother Simon a bunch of messages saying "Get me out," like written in code. And so he goes, spends his entire family fortune on like secret operatives to like extract his sister from this thing. And that's where the really kind of crazy science fiction and psychic stuff comes in, because she's like, they set it up to make it seem like she was being used to try to build like a superhuman weapon. And she has like, they broke her psyche in doing it though. They gave her like repeated brain surgery and all this other crazy stuff. And so they're like super highly wanted fugitives from the Alliance, hanging out with these smugglers, all on the same ship. And I think a big part of it, what makes it also successful, is like the acting and the crew themselves. Their captain, Malcolm, is both like stoic and captainesque, but also like really relatable and human. And I think that's like a lot of what draws it together, and that's the charm of it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't successful like financially, but it has become quite a fan favorite and a cult classic.
Oh yeah.
And they've been like Firefly season 2, but Nathan Fillion's all old, and obviously there's just some like problems with doing it now, but because it came out I think in 2004, some long time ago. Serenity was 2001. So that's cool, and it does feel more like a wasted potential, especially because it was a Joss Whedon product, and we saw how far he took Buffy and how he did the Avengers and how you can do a big blockbuster team up. And if a Serenity 2 would have been maybe a really badass movie, but it just lost potential.
Well, Serenity was also the movie they made afterward to kind of like tie things up with the crew, give them a kind of like a final adventure. Loosely ties things up with Simon and River.
We didn't get greenlit for another season, but
yeah. And then like the captain or the pilot dies.
Probably contextualize a lot more stuff watching the show.
Oh yeah. It's not even that long. I'd watch it.
Brandon had it, and it's like a chick like this, and it's like you kind of see their ship, and the letters are like blue and like early 2000s. I'm like,
you should watch it then,
dude. I was
if you have access to it. It's totally worth watching.
Underworld, Eon Flux, everything with fucking badass dark haired chick that was just Resident Evil. It's just fucking kick ass, bro.
Yeah, they go on crazy sci-fi adventures, doing crazy jobs for different people.
I feel like it would be a really fun game.
Oh, there's so many role-playing games based off it. So many.
Really?
Yeah.
But what about a video game? I feel like a Firefly video game, because they just did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And I think they did it really well, but you played Star-Lord the whole time. So maybe you play the captain the whole time, but you get to interact with the whole crew, and there's like different stations. Like maybe the doctors can like give you different... I don't know the world building that well, but I don't know. I'm sure there's different upgrades that they could figure out, and then also upgrading the ship, and then...
Yeah, the world building is really interesting because... Basically, the idea is that they terraformed a bunch of planets, and these planets need settlements now. So there's a really huge contrast between like sci-fi and Wild West, where there's like they're just using old technology and building wooden houses and grew a bunch of trees.
Juxtaposition of
but they're still early settlements, so they're like just out there like making life work. That's where the cowboy kind of side comes into it.
Yeah, the frontier.
Yeah, exactly.
Frontier space and the frontier of the
outside
West.
Federation reach.
Yeah, bro, that outer rim.
It's literally. Oh, there's really cool, crazy space pirate reaver things that are basically like space zombies.
Huh.
They're men driven mad by the edge of space, is the rumor or whatever. But they're like super tormented, and they do crazy things like sew patches into their skin and eat flesh, and are generally insane.
So you definitely tell them to go check it out?
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we've already seen it, you fucking dweeb.
Well,
it's pretty good. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, my unique one is Dune, but not Dune 1 or Dune Part 2, which are both really good and definitely go see them, but I'm not going to recommend them because you guys are probably already going to go see it. What I'm going to say is go look at 1984 Dune, where they did the entire book in one movie, and it's a fucking piped up fever dream adaptation of the Dune universe, which is basically pretty accurate because Dune is a fever dream.
All right.
And you get to see the things like guild navigators, which are those like fish-bodied floating in spice creatures that help navigate through space. So we didn't see any of those in the Villeneuve movies. Also, Alia of the Knife. I was telling you in the theater that spoilers in 3, 2, 1. She kills Baron and is like grandfather, and when she's a little kid in the book, and then in the movie, Paul does that, and Alia's not born yet, and then Alia is always like also like you should bow to Paul, and like when she's really little. So there's a lot of things that is in the movie that is creepy because they literally get like a 3-year-old little girl, and then her mouth moves, but it's like a grown woman speaking.
Whoa.
So it's like pretty good, and I don't know. There's some corny things for sure. Like when he rides a sandworm, obviously it's 1984. You're like, to be fair though, even the 2024 version, when he rides a sandworm, you're still like,
yeah, kinda.
so I just don't think we've ever made it good. That's just something that's hard to adapt, especially because a lot of sand.
And just moving like 95 miles an hour. It's like, how do you not get your arms ripped off? I don't know.
Right. I do like how they did the solder car, but in the new movies. But also, you get to see some of the creepiness of the Harkonnens, and instead of all pale and like albino, they're all pale, but they have red hair, and they're like really creepy, sadistic, like sexual, and they like have a juice box where you go, and it kills like this mouse or something, and then you drink it. You like squish it and then you drink it, and it's all in one container, just to show like how fucked up they are. Even to have a little refreshment, they're willing to just kill something and suck on its essence. And so yeah, there's just a lot of cool little nods like that, and little moments in the 1984 Dune. So if you're getting into the series now because you're watching the newer movies, or if you're a just an old-time fan of the books and you want to see some of the adaptations now that it's getting more popular, I would go check out the 1984 Dune for sure. That's my recommendation. Unique pick. Now we have some universal recommendations, but before I get into that, was there anything else that you wanted to divulge into your particular tastes with the genre, or maybe some of your favorite subgenres that you feel like either don't get enough love or just don't have enough adaptations? Really, cyberpunk?
Oh, cyberpunk's pretty good, but there's a ton of cyberpunk.
Name 3 good ones. I have some in recommendations. One of mine, Altered Carbon, that's for sure considered cyberpunk. I mean,
man, I can't name 3. Wow. Okay, I can't even name 1.
Alita Battle Angel is kind of cyberpunk.
Altered Carbon, clearly.
Blade Runner,
kind of. No, definitely.
I think
Blade Runner's
it's quintessentially
like
cyberpunk.
OG. Sorry, yeah. OG is still OG. It's late here.
Very, very niche, but maybe it fits in. Cowboy Bebop.
Ooh, oh yeah, great. Not cyberpunk, but super good.
Total Recall.
Total Recall's good.
Both the remake too. I like the remake with Colin Farrell. Leviathan Wakes.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a really good book series, so I just wanted to get different medium fans. So we have some movies, some books, some TV shows, some Captain Harlock and Space Pirates.
All right.
It's an old 80s anime movie that was redone on Netflix in like 2018, I believe. So you can check that out, Captain Harlock and the Space Pirates. Cowboy Bebop, we already went over. The Martian, which is for more some grounded sci-fi. Some more, I guess, technical sci-fi from Andy Weir. Another good book there. These two are hand in hand. Predator and Alien, obviously, classics. But if you haven't gone back and watched those original films, it takes on different tone than a lot of the modern films do, where they just throw a bunch of them at you. When there was only one predator or only one alien, and they made the gravitas when they're on the scene, it's like, holy shit. And they have a whole bunch of big jacked up commandos in that movie for a reason, to show how much bigger and stronger and more intimidating the predator is. Because they're all big old jacked up dudes, and then he's like 2 feet taller and like wider. They're like, what? And he's just like, oh.
Nice.
So, and then video game wise, if you're trying to get that kind of same feel and you're into the psychological, I guess, aspects that can come along with the space station, from the original Alien film is Prey. It's a very good video game, and Prey Moon Crash, also great expansion. You brought this up earlier. You watched it when you were younger. I don't have too much to say about it, but I figured we'd throw it in there since you said it was somewhat enjoyable. Babylon 5 by the same creator as Slaughterhouse 5 because he only knows one number. Also, I guess for that same space station vibe, but if we're looking more for that psychological horror, that jump scare horror, that multiple in your face experience, play this game in the dark for sure. Dead Space, looking forward to it. And then something that's kind of a little off center, but I would highly recommend it to anybody interested in historical fiction that has, or like alternate history fiction that has those like steampunk and other scientific sci-fi elements. Mortal Engines, which is a movie I watched recently. It came out in 2018 and it flopped, but it was really, really good. I don't know if the marketing just wasn't there or what, but there's a lot of cool elements, like how you were bringing up the Reavers and like how there's just different elements. In Mortal Engines, it's really cool. It's basically cities are all mobile. And so like
That's
London is like crawling always. And then what they do is when they consume another city, they take all of that and it like replenishes the city. And that it fills up its own debris to make a badass city. And then there's like settled lands, and they're like, nah, we want to actually like live places and like sit places. And they're like, nah, you're gonna fucking. And then they make this like energy weapon. So there's a lot more to it. I didn't spoil that much, but I think there's so many cool elements, and there's flying ships, and there's steampunk stuff, and there's just a lot of really cool elements. Mortal Engines, check it out. Stargate, it's ghetto, but it's cool. It's basic sci-fi. It's go to bed, watch this cool show, pick up a few episodes, figure it out, watch it, but I wouldn't get too invested. Although if you do, there is like 6 spin-off shows, so you can check that out. Starting with Pitch Black, kind of a reverse situation. Started off with a really good sci-fi movie, Pitch Black, and then everyone was like, dude, Riddick is the best character in this movie. And then they made The Chronicles of Riddick and then a couple other Riddick movies. But just any movie you can see with Riddick, I would recommend highly. And the Necromongers are a really great like faction. They're in between alive and dead. There's some ecology, the way that Dune is. So like each planet is different, like Arctic or like sun, and how the people adapt to that, as well as the Necromongers who like don't give a shit because they're basically dead. And yeah, Riddick, check it out. I'm almost rounding her out here. These are just these recommendations for everybody who's down and into it. It's like, okay, sci-fi, I've heard a few of these. Well, let me get kind of into this, especially if you're privy to fantasy. It's a good crossover. It's really easy crossover. Fifth Element. I'll just say 2 words. Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich, go watch it. Star Wars, only episodes 1 through 6 though, in my estimation. I wouldn't really recommend episodes 7 through 9. Not because they're just purely Disney, but because they ruin the essence of the characters that they had built in the previous 6 films. So I just don't find it reasonable. However, I do think the first 6 movies are worth a watch and have a great conclusive arc. Star Trek, again, original series really good. 1,000 spin-offs. Watch it going to bed. Watch it whenever you want. 100 movies. Check it out. It's one of the best franchises ever. Star Trek, obvious. Sci-fi parallel. And then finally, just so I have it in here one more time for the people who are reluctant and they're like, I don't like Chalamet, he's Willy Wonka. Go see fucking Dune. Go, if you haven't seen part 1, it doesn't matter. Go see part 2, and then you'll get context from part 1 later. Just go see Dune. Figure it out. Good stuff. That's a lot of sci-fi stuff. That's a lot of fucking fiction on top of our science. Subgenres probably in the future. That'd be a fun one to delve into, kind of particularize it a little more and get more into the subgenres and more specific examples. But overall, for a base, I think that was a good wrap.
Hope you guys like sci-fi. Check something out off the list. Get into something new. We'll see you next time.
Click the like button, subscribe. Peace.